The Subaru WRX has been absolutely tearing up my local roads for as long as I can remember. And usually when I'm seeing one of them on the road, it is a heavily modified machine, and it's also pretty fast. Today we are taking a look at this 2024 Subaru WRX with the Sport-tech package. Now, with the base Subaru starting around $32,000, this is a very attractive car to a lot of younger markets. So now we're going to take a look at everything this WRX has to offer. I'm going to do a full tour, interior, exterior, and then of course we're going to take it on a drive. I'm James, this is Test Drive. Let's take an in-depth tour of the Subaru WRX. So let's take a look under the hood first. We have a 2.4 liter direct injection Subaru Boxer engine that's going to give us 271 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque, and also, of course, we have the 6-speed manual. It just wouldn't be fun with a CVT. And yes, it is all-wheel drive across the board. So let's get into the rest. So next we're taking a look up front of the Subaru WRX. As you can see, not much has changed from 23, not much has changed in 24. So if you want to save a little bit of money and get a 23 and 24, you could definitely do that and you would look the same. So we do get a really nice hood scoop, as well as we have really nice daytime running LEDs. And then we have the plastic, the black plastic on the bottom. People either love to hate or hate to love it. I actually don't mind it. I don't think I need refinement. I don't think I need crazy sporty features for the WRX because it's just meant to be driven in any weather. And I think the plastic kind of supports that. Also, if you hit somebody, you're fine. It's plastic. It's probably easier to replace and you don't really have to paint it because it's just black. So there you go. I really do think that the front end looks really cool. We got some fog lights and the main headlight LED lamps do have the cornering features even with the Sport-tech package, even if you don't go all the way up to the base, to the main CVT. So that's really good. I'm a fan of the front end. I think it looks sporty and I've liked looking at it all week. So there you go. There's the front end. Let's take a look at the side. Okay, so next up we have the side profile for the WRX. Again, we have that black plastic. I know it's there and I know a lot of people don't like it, but the good news is a lot of people that are gonna buy this car are do-it-yourselfers anyways. They're going to either paint it or make it look cool. I've already seen a couple that have really changed it, either paint matched the black plastic or completely changed it to a different color and it just looks fantastic. But personally, if I was to own it, I'm not so much of a DIYer. I will have somebody do it. Maybe I'd paint it, maybe I'd paint match it, but for a while, I'd probably just leave it in the black because it looks cool. It really does look cool. In the snow, this thing in the snow, covered in snow, I really think it would look cool. So speaking about those side paneling, we do have some usable air vents on the side there near the front tires that allows airflow to come back through the wheels here, which is very nice. I really like the blacked out wheels here on the WRX. We do have some one-touch unlock and locking, but it is a sensor. So I don't know how well that's gonna do in the winter, which is strange because they have all-wheel drive, good for Canada, but sensors not so much. But anyways, the side profile really does look cool. I like it a lot. There's not so much tech going on here, not a lot of stuff to look at. I don't know, final opinion on the most argued part of the WRX is black plastic. I like it. I like it on the side. You can hate me for it or you can love me for it, but I do think it looks kind of cool and I get why they did it. So now we're here on the rear of the WRX. This is like probably my favorite part. And honestly, it's because of those quad exhausts. It's got such a nice sound to it. Like the startup sound and the rev sound is really nice. Now you can see there's a little spoiler, a little baby spoiler, but let me tell you, I have already seen a couple of this model year cars on the road with massive wings and an absolutely massive canister for the quad exhaust. So people are already up to some business with these and I love to see them. I really like these tail lights. Again, not much change from 23 or 24. It's pretty much the same thing. WRX badge, all-wheel drive badge, some basic stuff. So let's take a look at the trunk. So trunk kind of opens by itself, but it's obviously not an automatic liftgate, but that's okay. Wasn't expecting that really anyways. but we have plenty of room. There's not so much room like vertically, but you can, you know, slide stuff down in there, fold the seats down, you'll have so much more space as well. It's a surprising amount of room. I wasn't expecting that. And also, if you kind of look through the back window, you can see the Harman Kardon subwoofer that's powering the sound system inside, and it sounds fantastic. So now I'm sitting in the rear of the WRX. My first impression of them were honestly this. I felt that the seats were pretty solid, but they hold you well. Like, the material in the back is really, really comfortable. You've got like this Alcantara like suede inserts here. The seats that come with the Sport package, the Sport-tech package is actually a perk of getting that. So it's very nice. We have a little cup holder section that's gonna slide down here. I've got just enough headroom, like my head kind of rubs up against my hair does anyways, it kind of rubs against the roof here, but it's not bad. I could probably do a road trip in here, no problem. I've got enough leg room. I'm not too squished. You know, my knees aren't in my chest. I've got heated seats back here, 2 levels of it, so great for the winter as well. And then I also have 2 USB normal ports in the back here. It's very comfortable, very useful, so let's hop up front. All right, so next up, of course, is the front seat, the business end of the WRX, and my favorite place to spend time. So let's start by talking about the seats. The seats, again, have those nice suede inserts, but they are very squeezy. They're very, very tight when you sit in them. It fits me like actually perfectly, so that's very nice, but a little bit smaller and I might fly around, a little bit bigger and it might be too tight. So like, I'm actually very comfortable in these seats. They hold me very well. I like this WRX embroidering. I like the black leather stitching around the whole car. It doesn't make things too boring, makes things look a little bit sporty, so that's nice. I really, really like the steering wheel. I love the feel of Subaru steering wheels for some reason. It's just the way they do it. It feels very nice in the hands, very grippy. You got the WRX and the carbon fiber thing too here, so that's also very nice. Left-hand side, I have some illumination controls, but a lot of like dead buttons. It doesn't look the greatest when you have dead buttons in cars. They should, like, you know, just make it, I don't know, make a panel that hides it, but there's a lot of dead buttons. Of course, I've got 3 pedals. They're aluminum pedals, look very nice. The feel is really great. I'll talk about transmission feel when we actually take it for a drive. I have a mix of digital and analog for the gauge cluster screen, and I feel like for the WRX, it's okay. Usually that's something I complain about in the interiors, but for now, we're good. I like it. Then we have this big iPad screen. I don't think it's as big as the one that I had on the Impreza, but it is still very big. It's very busy though when you have a lot of things going on. You kind of have your Apple CarPlay and you want to do other stuff. It is very busy. There's no built-in navigation for that. You'd have to get the WRX CVT, so I'm okay with that. It has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well that are both wired, so who cares about that? And yeah, it's basically the same thing that you've been seeing on the recent Subarus that we've done here on the channel, so nothing new there. We've got of course, the 6-speed manual shifter, which I'll again talk about when we take it for a drive. Manual handbrake, which is like, yes, I love manual handbrakes in the manuals that we get, because the electronic parking brakes suck in manuals. Like, just delete those, please. We have a little tiny bit of storage here in the center console, not too much, but again, you're not really storing too many things in the WRX. You're just gonna drive it. So let's do exactly that. Let's take it on the road. All right, so now we're on the road in the Subaru WRX 6-speed manual transmission. And that is probably the funnest part about the Subaru WRX for this year, because the manual transmission is so much fun to use. I am not a daily manual driver. I don't drive it every day. I don't own one. I own a dual clutch car. It's not the same thing at all as a manual. So like, pretty much every time I get into a manual, it's a little bit of a relearning process. So I kind of get to judge the cars on how easy they are for a first buyer. And this one, the clutch is very forgiving. It lets me get away with a lot. I do have to rev match downshift. I've been able to get pretty good at that this week. You know, if I miss a shift or a gear, I can just pop it neutral. It's very forgiving of what I want to do with it. And I really, really like that. And also, I'll show you, it has a little bit of power too. Let's go. Oh my goodness, that's fast. Like, that's unnecessarily fast. Like, for what this car wants to be, oh man. And the thing is like, people are going to tune this, they're going to upgrade this, and so the speed that I'm experiencing probably isn't even the limit of the car. You know, I'm pretty sure that people have probably found a way to unlock the full potential, but it's so easy to shift. It's so easy to live with. I was expecting the gear throws to be a little bit on the shorter end, but they are a little bit on the longer end actually, but it doesn't matter. The power band also is very small, so you're gonna be very active with your shifting, especially if you're in traffic. You're gonna go to, from first to second a lot. a lot of times, so it's not fun to drive in traffic, that's for sure. But again, what manual really is, and yeah, I just like how easy it was to pick up and go and learn. And I feel like if you're interested in this car for your first ever manual, I think you could get away with it. I think you could really learn on it quickly and become confident quickly. It has hill start assist, so when you're stuck on a hill, it will kind of hold the brakes for a few seconds so you can kind of get your stuff going. You can be slow with it, you don't have to be quick. So if somebody's like right up your butt, like they do in Quebec, you're not gonna be fearful of rolling back into them and then causing this whole thing, and then you're never gonna drive manual again. You're gonna be fine. Also, the handling this year is really, really good. I saw some complaints that it was like really floaty, but this year it feels really pinned in. I'm like really, really happy with how well it's able to stay. It's like a four-wheel drive go-kart in some senses. And since you have that all-wheel drive, it really pulls traction from the corners really, really well. Like, I'm very, very happy with it this year. So for 2024, there isn't much change interior-wise. Basically, you just get the lane keep assist, the automatic distance and stuff, and the automatic cruise control stuff. That's really all you're getting. They didn't really add that much because, in 2023, you had to go with the garbage CVT one. And I don't know, I just feel like you take away the personality if you go with a CVT. I mean, if you need a manual and you want the Subaru WRX, I mean, that's fine. But I just feel like it's not near as much fun as it would be if you went with a 6-speed manual. It's just much more fun to control your own gears, to be involved in the driving. It's so much fun. The steering feel feels really good too. The D-cut feels really, really nice. Like I said, the seats, they're in between throwing me around and hugging me too closely. So it's like, if I was any bigger or smaller, I probably wouldn't like it too much, but I actually fit these seats perfectly. It's perfect for my body type, which is really nice. So I really don't have that complaint either, but I could see how it would squeeze some people a little bit too hard, or, you would maybe fly around in the seat a little bit, but it's not adjustable. So that's one thing that's maybe but it's all right. For my preferences, it's very good. I like it a lot. It's also got such a really good exhaust note. I know people in the past have said, it's been louder and stuff like that, and I tend to agree that yes, I think that this version of the WRX is a little bit more tame, a little bit more neighborhood friendly, but that doesn't mean that people are not going to mod it like crazy and make it non-neighborhood friendly anymore. So I think in that sense, we're probably, like I said, we're just not even tapped into the full potential of this car. I really do think there's more, and I think the modders will bring it out. So send me your mod builds. I want to see this thing in like the craziest form I can see it, because I think that's what it's meant to do. But also as a daily driver, as just a point A to point B stock, I've had a great time. No problems this week at all. Like, no weird stalling, no weird clutch stuff. Like, it's just been really, really good. And yeah, they took away the STI, but I think they're bringing back for 24 the TR trim, which is kind of like, the Subaru that's unleashed. So that'll be really cool to see. But yeah, I think there's still so much fun to be had with this car. I hope they don't kill it because I don't know, I like the manuals. I really do. I've been having such a great time. Like, the infotainment screen can be busy at times, but when you're driving manuals, you don't even notice it because you're more focused on shifting and stuff like that. So, but it's a good infotainment. It's really responsive and all that stuff. So there's really not a lot to complain about, other than the ride is pretty bumpy on these Quebec roads. I'm getting tossed around quite often in the low speed. I'm pretty sure if I took it on a dirt road or in the snow, things would soften up a little bit. I feel like it's more made for that. The drive system would be made for that. So that's why I think it would be really great in the winter as well. But yeah, it is very bumpy. Like, everybody that I've brought in this car and taken them for a ride in it, that's kind of their first comment is it's actually pretty bumpy, or it's more bumpy than they thought from an all-wheel drive Subaru. So there's a little bit of that, but there's no adaptive suspension, there's no anything. So you're just kind of left to your own devices. But that's kind of what a manual is. It's rugged, it's rough, it's a manual, and that's why I think it suits the personality of the WRX. The manual is the way to go. It really is. But I think that about covers everything for the WRX. I think that if you are looking to drive your first manual, get into your first manual, and you're considering a WRX, you really can't go wrong with the Subaru, either 2023 or 24, because there really isn't much changes between the two. Maybe 25 they'll change something, and maybe they'll bring, I don't know if they're bringing the TR trim to Canada, but if they do, I'd love to try it. Oh my goodness, because he gets the Brembo brakes, the louder exhaust, all that stuff. So yeah, I think there's more to see from the WRX, and I can't wait to see it. Like I said, the bumpiness is not great. It's okay fuel economy wise. I don't have a test loop like Niall does, but for me, I'm around the 10.9 liters per 100 kilometers, and I'm just driving mostly city. So it's not bad. I have been pushing it though. I mean, you can obviously drive it a little bit better to get better fuel economy, but it's okay for a sedan. For an all-wheel drive, it's actually surprisingly good for me in terms of the amount of driving that I have to do when I do these reviews. So yeah, I don't mind it at all. The design is good. People don't like it, but I do. That's just one of those things. I think this car is very much geared to a younger crowd, but will they be able to afford it? That is the big question. This car touches the 50K mark, so I think the 30K WRX, the base, is going to be where a lot of people get in, especially for this market that this car kind of targets or attracts anyways. I think, yeah, but I think you'll be happy either way. Even with the base, I think you'd still be really happy because it's the same drivetrain, same, you know, all-wheel drive stuff, same engine. It's going to be fun either way. Either way, the Subaru WRX is a really fun car to drive and daily drive and own, and you can do it all year round here in Quebec because it can handle the winters with the all-wheel drive, so that's excellent to know. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'll see you in the next week, see you in the next car. Make sure you like it, subscribe. Take care.